And this is such a great industry. I've been doing this for 41 years, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't love this industry and continue to talk about it. It's quite a thing to see how the team works, and someone leaves and everybody steps up to the plate and supports the salon, and we keep the clients and we keep the stylists happy. Is it 100% perfect? Absolutely not. Well, so I think first we have to talk about where cultural shift in the industry came from. And it still happens today, where salons salon owners, unfortunately, don't get involved in educating their staff. There's no training program. And so consequently, it further goes into, how do you take care of the client? Does the client know that everybody's on the same page? Because essentially, in the past, what's happened is salon owners need to make money. They hire a stylist with a following. They offer them a certain percentage, and essentially they give them a chair and say, figure it out. Unfortunately, what that does is it creates an entire salon full of non-trusting employees, a lot of competition, stuff that doesn't necessarily go into taking care of the customer. And so what needs to happen in this industry is to understand that, and it's not just Davis Hairdressing. I think, industry-wide, what needs to happen is, because there's so much competition out there, especially for independent salon owners, what needs to happen is we need to start at the basics. We need to go to the schools, educate the students, interest them in coming to the salon. We have to have a dedicated and consistent training program, and also where we show them they have goals, how to go to from point A to point B. Because, I've heard of apprentices working in a salon 3 years without any goals and really no education. And, education would come from, hey, if the owner has time, or the apprentice has a model. And so, it doesn't necessarily work. And I think, education creates consistency within the salon. So to my salon, we get apprentices in, and they're trained pretty much from day one exactly how, not only educational in the hairdressing world, but also in the customer service world. Culturally, how do they adapt? What do they give to the client? How is it that they treat the client from service provider to service provider, meaning at the shampoo bowl? And then consistency in the educational program. We do once a week classes for the entry-level apprentices, and then they're allowed to come on Mondays with models, and we further that with more advanced concepts. And so what starts to happen is we develop a team, because when they go on the floor, and we have clear set goals for that, when they go on the floor, they're ready to take the clients, and that gives the other staff the opportunity to say, hey, I'm a little bit busy, but Mary Ann is on the floor today. She just started, and she does a great job with blow dry. So, you could go to her. And culturally, we all get involved in that. We all speak the same language. If clients can go to different stylists based on the ways that we cut hair. It's all pretty much the same. How do we adapt to that? It's still a team. The education doesn't really end when the stylist gets on the floor from behind the shampoo bowl. Now there's consistent education throughout their career, and we have goals and set guidelines in order to get a percentage raise. And it's not just numbers, it's about cultural adaptation, support of the salon overall, and that creates a huge difference in the industry. And honestly, there are not a lot of salons that do this. One of the things that I'm very free with is how do the students interview? What kind of salon are they looking for? Is it going to be focused on their continued career growth? I think that's a huge, and I say this all the time, I could really never give back to this industry what it's given me. So to go to the schools and talk to them and give them my version of a haircut, whatever it is, step-by-step guidelines, that's giving back to them, because I love that. And the second thing is that I want kids that come out of school to have the same opportunities that I have and that everyone should have. Unfortunately, you know, the margins in this business are quite slim, and so consequently owners are a little afraid to spend the money on education. But you know, the fact of the matter is, if you don't educate them and your name is on the door, what does that say to the client? And I think, you know, giving back to the industry as a salon owner is huge, because we want that. Like any other industry, there's continuing education that's recommended, and also you have to do it. In this industry, there aren't any guidelines for education except for the amount of hours you do to get out of hairdressing school. And I think that, you know, how do you continue that? Well, you have to have a consistent program. And I think that, you know, it's old school really to think about hey, I'm just going to hire somebody, throw them behind the chair, and hopefully they stay and make money. I think that you have to have the opportunity to continue that culture throughout your salon, because what it says to the clients is, I really care. You know, I talk about this to all my clients, how we work, you know, the team that we have. If you don't want to spend this price or that price, you can go with somebody who's a little bit less expensive without anybody giving you the hairy eyeball. You know, everybody's on the same page. In fact, most stylists will come over and say, hey, how's it going? This one's great. She's going to do a great job, or he's going to do a great job. And I think that's so important. But without continued education, you can't have that culture in your salon. You can't. It comes from, it starts at day one. From the schools, to behind the shampoo bowl, to weekly hands-on classes. You know, education builds confidence as well. You know, you throw a brand new person, hey, someone quits, and you're throwing a brand new person behind the chair. How is that going to go? And how do they feel about it? It doesn't just happen. You can't just one day have a team meeting and say, hey guys, we're going to have a team, we're going to have a cultural shift. It doesn't happen. It has to start from day one. Like anything, you know, you have to hire new blood, because what I say is, the only thing I want is a good work ethic and the ability to want to learn. And if you do that, I can train anybody. And I think that, you know, we have a really, really amazing staff, 2 salons based on that. Again, is it perfect all the time? Absolutely not. But I think that we need to change it from day one. It's so unfortunate that we've gotten to the point in this industry where everybody feels that they want to be on their own, booth rental or suite rental, because at the end of the day, you know, it's different. That people like to come to a salon. There's hustle and bustle. People know them. They have relationships with the front desk and the apprentices. They watch the salon grow. You know, clients love that. You know, if they want to be locked in a little box, you know, they can get their massage or their facial that way. But I think that when you go to a hair salon, it's all about the culture. I think it's very, very, very important for the client to feel as involved in it as the stylist is. And this sounds like, you know, a lot, but I think it's nothing more than the client sits in the chair and the stylist talks to them about culture, how we are, who we are here, how they can be made happy. And I find that when stylists leave, 60% of their clients will stay because they're invested in the culture. They trust it. You know, how is it going to go somewhere else? How am I going to trust that culture? Is it going to be different? Am I going to be taken care of as well? And I think most people will say yes, because I think that what happens is, sure, it's about relationships, but it's also about relationship with the culture and the business.